ask Bronwyn to please give us our opening prayer.
I would be happy to do that. Let's just all take a breath wherever we are, even though we are in different places. We know that our energies are combined and connected. There is no separation, and we're happy to be together this beautiful spring evening. We greet with joy every member here and those who will come join us in a bit. And we extend this loving energy out to every member of our beloved Heart family. And of course, we include our beloved Judy as well. We're grateful this evening for the wisdom and the kindness and the generosity of Matt and Cathlene as they come to share their considerable learning and knowledge with us. And we're very happy for their message. We ask Divine Spirit to inspire and bless them, and as well to inspire and bless all of us here this evening. And for these blessings and for the beloved energy, we are grateful. Thank you and amen.
Thank you. That was lovely.
Thank you, Bronwyn. Appreciate your heartfelt blessing. So I'd just like to do a few announcements. And Bronwyn, if anybody comes in, if you could please let them in, I'd really appreciate that.
Okay.
Okay. So welcome, everyone. Today, our topic is honoring the divine self with our beloved Matt and Cathlene. Just to refresh, Oak Ridge is a spiritual community with a global love-centered heart family, and we embrace our spiritual path of awakening, remembering our divine nature. Diving Deeper is a monthly exploration of Jeshua and Holy Family's teachings as channeled by Judy over the past 30 plus years. And our Oak Ridge mission is to promote peace in the world, respect for all life, and empowerment of each person to fulfill their highest potential. Our agenda today is our welcome, opening prayer, and then discussion of Jeshua's quotes and spiritual journeys and healing modalities of Matt, Cathlene, and our participants, and then a guided meditation that they will do and closing remarks. So I don't know, all of you know, but our beloved Matt and Cathlene are quite holy beings that are here to bless us. Cathlene is a certified holistic health practitioner and educator. And I didn't know, but she is also an herbal formulator and custom aromatherapy blend creator. So Cathlene has been helping people for many years and helping to release unwanted patterns. Matt came to us many years ago through the Jeshua Advances, and he's a Reiki master and certified Theta practitioner. And I know that he's a natural intuitive healer and empath, and he empowers people to release their limitations and honor their gifts. That's the gift to the honoring the self today. And they're both featured in this wonderful book, Awakening Leaders, Empowering Stories of Self-Healing, Triumph, and Transformation. And then the inspirational message that they chose to open up our discussion and our time together just to center us in it is to allow yourself to remember the light that you are, to feel yourself be radiance, to know yourself to be unlimited, to be loved with an everlasting love. As you are uplifted in consciousness, you will draw all men and women to that higher state of remembrance. This is truly what the Age of Enlightenment is all about. For each moment, as you allow yourself to rise up in consciousness, you uplift all of creation. So that is the inspiration, excuse me, that Jeshua has given us over the years, and that inspires all of us to shine. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Matt and Cathlene, and welcome and thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you, Eva. That is a wonderful quote. So I thought we'd share a little bit. I don't know if most people know, but I came to Judith and to her Yeshua channelings just completely by chance years ago. Just part of my wonderful spiritual journey when I started following my intuitive sense to lead me to the next thing that I would discover, and I went all different directions, whether it was Deepak Chopra or whatever spiritual leader it was. And in my exploration, somehow it wasn't, I didn't even do YouTube back then. So I'm not sure exactly how I discovered Judith and her channelings, but I did find it, I was divinely led there. And I just felt an immediate resonance, right? It felt like coming home to me. It sang to me. So I started listening. I don't even remember what was available then, but I think it led me to the books. So I found the books, and the books were just sang to me, and eventually I flew all the way up here for just one evening of Judith channeling from Palm Springs, to just had to experience it in person. And of course, then started coming to the advances, which led me eventually to meet my beautiful wife. And, the monumental changes in my life all really are centered around, I think that happening to me. I don't believe I would even be living still had I not found that and found this path and found Cathlene and all of the amazing things that have come from living here now in Squim. And I hadn't really thought about the depth of how much I attribute that to me finding Judith and her channelings online, some miracle of a day, and where it took me.
There are no surprises,
Right? I mean, it's just
no accidents. It's
so
perfect.
amazing.
And the beautiful thing for me is that it was a class that Matthew and I eventually met in, and he introduced me to Judith and the Yeshua channelings and all that kind of stuff. And it's been a beautiful experience for me. And to meet all these wonderful people that are of like mind, it's just so beautiful. Like he said, it's like coming home. So it's like oh, we found my tribe, we found my people. It's really lovely.
And we're so glad to have both of you in our heart family.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. So tell us more about your spiritual journey and how you got to do the work that you're doing.
Well, so utilizing we could actually come from the quote, remembrance, right? So what we're in the process of doing is actually just remembering who we are in consciousness, right? And it can be a topsy-turvy road. It can be a smooth road. It can be all these different things. But what Matthew and I have found is that there are some really beautiful ways to actually clear, sometimes we have a stopgap, or we get stalled, or we have some pattern in our life that actually doesn't get out of the way of us being able to be fully present in our lives. And so we have some really beautiful ways of working with people and doing lots of different modalities and to clear away the debris.
Yeah, it's, as we're trying to bring the wholeness of ourselves in to this physical incarnation, when we think of the clearing as just removing the debris, removing all the things that are no longer serving us, that are maybe taking up space and impeding the wholeness of ourselves from coming in. There's many different ways you can look at it, but one of the most empowering aspects of all the work that we do, and what's been so amazing for me is taking me from a place of feeling like a victim I don't know if everybody knows, but I was a alcoholic. I was a drug addict. I was very high functioning, one of both of these. I still worked and held jobs and did all of those things. But in order for me just to cope with the stress of daily life and just of being myself, I needed something outside of me. At least I believed I did. And so, and being coming from that state of mind, it's very much a victimhood state because it feels like everything's happening to me. Life's happening to me, not for me. And when everything feels like it's happening to you, I felt very disempowered. I didn't know that there was some way where I could actually shift how I was feeling and shift out of that victimhood. And that's what these processes do, these clearing processes, whether we're identifying something that's inherited from our family lineage. I think we all know that we are affected, whether it's just our genetic DNA inheritance, but we can inherit emotional issues, we can inherit trauma, we can inherit so many things that aren't even necessarily ours. Of course, we've agreed to come in and pick our parents and choose this incarnation, but coming to that conscious level where you recognize that you have a choice about what you experience, when you can identify that there is something you've inherited from your parents that is no longer something you want to carry or you want to continue or perpetuate as a pattern, or even identifying a trauma that you can heal, that's the kind of work that we do.
And
That's one aspect of the things
and the
that we do.
beautiful thing that happens is that as you're clearing yourself, you can actually dedicate it to your entire family. So when they're ready for the transformation or the shift and they ask for it to come in, it will start working instantly. And that's the beautiful part of this work, is that we don't have to be right next to each other to actually have the work do its job. So we can do long distance, we can do phone calls, we can do in person. It's beautiful, a beautiful way to just play with people. We also help, a lot of times we don't know the pathway to take. And so one of the things that happens with Matthew and I when we work with people is that we kind of help by asking questions and seeing if a person can come to their own realization of what path they want to take. And that often does happen by us just asking questions of people and having conversations with them. And most people go, one session may be a total session of just having conversations. And you wouldn't think that that was a therapy session, but it really is, because how do you discover who and where you're going if you don't have a conversation about it?
And then within that, of course, we're opening up to spirit and looking for the intuitive hits for where to go. And I mean, almost everything that we do is done that way within a session with somebody, is that we're just opening up to whatever. We always just start by having a conversation, hi, how are you? What's going on? And sometimes people come and they say, oh my God, there's this is what's happening. And then we start asking questions and we open up to our intuitive senses, and then we know what direction to go. And so we thought we might kind of do that with the group of people that are here today, that we would, now that we know the group and we're kind of feeling into the energy of it, I think maybe since I started with the fact that the inherited stuff, that we might do something, what we call it is an mRNA clearing. What do you think?
Sure.
Does that feel? And so, of course, normally we do this one-on-one with people, but I think in a group setting, what we might be able to do is.
So how would we do it is that each person gets a few minutes to think about a pattern that they would like to release, that they may have taken on from family lineage. So in that way, you've got the idea of what you want to clear, and then we can guide you through the clearing. And then you'll be able to do an individual thing. So we don't have to clear the same thing for the whole group.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. So,
Does that feel okay to everybody?
yeah.
Okay.
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 It's very different.
Gotta go.
It's very different doing this way for us, but at least you guys will get some experience. So what I think with that sense, let's give everybody like 30 seconds or so, if not a minute, to just feel into something. And you don't need to necessarily know that it was inherited, but if there is something that's coming up for you, there's a pattern that you recognize, or something that's strongly emotional that seems to repeat again and again in your life, I'd like for you to just kind of be with that and identify something. And then once everybody gives us a thumbs up, I guess, we'll go ahead and start the clearing.
Taking notes.
We have 3. Okay, 4. That was great.
I liked yours, Wajida.
So everybody seems to be ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So I want to have everybody close their eyes and take a deep breath in and out and in. And with every out breath, allowing all the cares and the worries of the day just to dissipate, to drip into the planet, to be transformed into opalescent love. Now I want you to imagine yourself in a forest with dappled sunlight and a dirt road to walk down. And you're going to find a very, very nice place for you to sit in that forest and be very comfortable. Then you're going to imagine a DNA helix floating in the air above your head. And then beside this double helix, you're going to find what looks like 35 millimeter negative. So it's a strip with sections in it. And this is your mRNA. And each one of those sections is a little door. And I want you to open every section in the mRNA that represent this pattern that you're wanting to clear. And just nod your head slightly when they're all open. Now, I want you to bring all of your light being helpers in to help you lift out that pattern that represents in those sections. And as that pattern is being lifted out, all of who you are comes in after it, this opalescent shining being. And as all of that stuff gets lifted up, it also gets transformed into opalescent love to be utilized as energy, pure energy, however you wish to utilize it. When all of those patterns have been released from those doors, you can close the doors. Just slightly nod your head when all the doors are closed again. Now, beside your DNA, there are these little tidbits that go in and out of the DNA to activate and deactivate actions. So these are called RNA. And what you're going to do is go down into the mRNA, and you're going to get the new information of the wholeness of yourself without this pattern. And it's going to pick it up, and then it's going to plug it into your DNA. And as it plugs into your DNA, all that was falls away, leaving bright and shining brand new DNA. I want you to see it, feel it, and be it glowing. We're going to now take that brand new DNA strand and plug it into the original 2 cells at the base of your spine. And as it's being plugged in, everything, all that was, falls away, leaving bright and shining brand new DNA in those cells. And I want everybody to take a deep breath in and out. And we're now going to activate the new information throughout the whole entire body and every cell of your body. And it's just going to go and fill. And all that was falls away, leaving bright and shining brand new DNA throughout the whole entire body. And as that's doing that, just feel it gently humming and pulsing in its new activation of beingness. Now we can take a deep breath and slowly get up and start walking down the forest path, and gently come back into the room. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes.
Welcome, Pat.
Hi, Pat.
So good job, everybody. Does anybody want to share anything from their experience?
I will. It felt wonderful. It just felt wonderful. I was able to visualize what you were talking about, and I just thought it was very interesting. And it felt, beautiful forest, and felt very interesting. It feels like it might take me a few days to integrate that energy.
Yes, it might take a few days to do that.
Yeah, that's what I think. Yeah.
So, and everybody's different. Sometimes it takes a few hours, sometimes it takes a few days, sometimes it even takes a few weeks to really fully feel it in your body, the shifts and changes.
We always trust that, your higher self is going to integrate the changes at the rate that it needs to happen for your highest and greatest good.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think what's involved with family too is, it's the lessons that they provide that we have come to learn. And for whatever it is, bless them.
Right. And I think the concept for me is that it's always the fact that when I have consciously acknowledged that, okay, I understand that I did inherit this and I chose this, but and I ask many times, I'll muscle test, am I done with this? Have I learned all I need to learn from? And if so, then I'm ready to clear it, right? I don't need to keep perpetuating the same scenario in my life and or pass it on in my, to my own lineage. Should I?
You don't have to keep dragging it around.
Right. It's time to unload the backpack
Yeah.
as much as we can, and really, again, bring in that wholeness of ourself.
And in the remembrance of, the remembrance of who we are, and the fact that we are all light beings and that we're all connected, it's quite interesting to see how much we've actually, because we're identifying with the physical, how much we've forgotten that we are really spiritual beings having this experience. And so to get these beautiful ways of being able to release us from the focus of the physical, Matthew and I often find that the basic questions that we ask people when they're experiencing anything is it mental, emotional, spiritual, or physical? Because even a pain in your body can actually be a spiritual source, but it's affecting the body in a physical way. So it's really quite fascinating to see that if you clear things or you resolve things in a way that is like, sometimes you have a pain in the body and the source might be emotional. When you clear or resolve that emotion, then the pain goes away.
Interesting.
Yeah,
It's so fascinating.
and that's where we start with almost everybody. You know, we look at pain or discomfort in the body or dis-ease in the body as a gift. And I know it doesn't seem like it at the time, but what if the truth is that it is your body because it's an energetic disruption, right? That there's something energetically,
Or out
because
of balance.
we know that everything is energy. So even emotions, energy, mental thoughts are energy, spiritual, there's spiritual aspect to that. And then there is the physical, but even our physical body is comprised of energy, right? So if something is causing us pain or bringing our attention to it, then it's telling us that there's something out of balance, something to look at. So we start with those 4 questions.
And I've always been fascinated about the fact that these light bodies that we have it's just stabilized light. I always think that that's a fascinating prospect, right? It's like stabilized light. What is that about? It's just so kind of exciting to explore it.
You know, Eva and Bronwyn, I know you guys are both in the book study, but it's so beautiful. That's exactly what this last chapter was about, right? And the
Yeah,
Jeshua
density.
volume 2.
Mhm.
It's, you know, I don't think a coincidence how synchronistically it all works together.
Exactly.
That's where we're at. It's pretty beautiful.
And the clearing process often is also a forgiveness process of forgiving
Exactly.
ourselves for, even thinking that anything was wrong or that we did anything wrong. It's
Mhm.
just, it's so beautiful to be able to go down those paths.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Go ahead from Daya.
Well, it just kept coming up for me during the process, but I don't want to do that. Hang on, I just changed my view. I don't want to look at myself.
Actually, I did
You don't want to look at yourself?
I'm okay. I'm okay like this. I don't want to.
Yeah, me too. I'm the same way.
it.
I'm like, oh no.
So beautiful, though.
I was just thinking it might be. I know this is because it's kind of out of the blue, but with this process, it seems to me that it lends itself to something grander, and that we are in a time right now where there are some collective patterns that we can identify. And I was wondering if we might, as a group, heal a collective pattern together, either in this thing that you've in the same way you just did it, clearing it for ourselves and for
The planet.
the planet, all beings on the planet. I mean, is that something people would be open to doing? Would you be open to guiding us in that?
We certainly would be. I'm not sure that I would just have to open up to whether actually doing it through like an mRNA clearing would be the way, but there's certainly another modality, you know, another way we might do it.
So what if we were to attempt to clear the filter of fear
Oh, yeah.
from us and the world?
Hmm.
So in doing it ourselves, then we also include the Akashic records of the planet.
Well, that's what that quote that you picked is all about. That as I be lifted up, I lift up all of humanity. So,
Right, because
yeah,
also with us clearing the fear, the vellum of fear or the filter of fear through us, we can also see if we can actually dedicate it to the grid on the planet. So that as each person is willing to let go of fear, it just lifts.
yeah.
Yeah. I think we all need, well, I don't know, we need to recognize, but we do recognize that, of course, with free will, we can't just do things for everybody without their free choice. However, we can put it out for everyone when they're ready to choose, that all they need to do is, with a thought, make the choice, and they
Yes.
take on the clearing, right?
Yeah, we can put out the intention that when they, as whoever as sovereign beings, choose their timing,
Exactly.
can be lifted easily and effortlessly. Because if you remember what we talked about it in that book study too, it was that Jeshua tells us that this hasn't been a mistake, that
Right.
descending into physicality was not a mistake, but something that we had planned because we wanted to have these experiences.
Right.
So,
This wonderful density, right?
yes, that
How much
descent
we
into,
love this density and duality, and well, we don't necessarily need to love it, right? But I totally agree, and we know it wasn't a mistake. But yes, but now as we continue to become more and more conscious on every level, lately we've been talking with our mentor about what it is to be conscious physically, conscious mentally, conscious spiritually, and conscious emotionally. And does each one of those have a different element to it? And then today we were even talking about whether there's something to being physically, or what did you say, spiritually,
So
physically?
it's that the journey that the journey that I'm on right now with my body is actually a spiritual journey in my body. That everything that's happening in my body is actually for me to become spiritually conscious.
Like on a whole nother level,
Yeah.
right? So, and that has been happening through this journey. We continuously looking at, slightly different angles and deeper levels of a mental, emotional, spiritual, or physical things. But even the physical reality that she's been creating as part of her spiritual journey. And as she comes to new understandings, that continues to evolve. So it's a pretty beautiful thing.
because we are one within ourselves as sovereign beings, and we are one together as well. Uh,
So
as we're,
are we gonna
as
do
we,
the fear? Sorry, go ahead, Vicky.
Do we want
no,
to?
I haven't been able to get her today.
Okay.
Would we like to do the fear, removing the filter of fear, and then also dedicating that to the field on the planet?
That sounds beautiful. Is everybody okay with that?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Okay.
So this is another forest journey. So everybody close their eyes and take a deep breath in and out. And this time I want you to place your feet on the ground if you can, flat on the ground if you can, so you can feel the ground. And then I want you to reach up to your source star, wherever that is. And then we're going to enter into this beautiful forest again with this path that we can walk down. And I see dappled sunlight throughout the leaves, and they're fluttering quite lovely. And as you're walking down the path, on the left-hand side, there is a bramble. And behind the bramble is an opening of a cave. And I want you to move the bramble over and walk into the cave. The cave is tall enough for you to walk into. And although it is dark in the beginning, way back in the back, you can kind of see a glimmering light. So I want you to go back into the cave and follow that glimmering light. And it's going to curve around to the left, actually. And you're walking closer to that light. As you enter deeper into the cave, there's an alcove that's big enough to hold a lectern. You know, those stands that you stand behind when you're giving a speech? And on it, there's a book. And this is your book of life. It is your Akashic record book. And you're going to walk behind the lectern and open your book. If it's already open, that's great. I want you to open just the cover so that you see the first page of the book and then the cover beside it. And then on the lectern, there's also going to be a glue stick. And now, as you look at your book on the first page, you're going to slide your index finger across the top of that first page. And a very thin piece of vellum is going to come up off that first page. Can everybody see that? Or feel it? Or know it? And on that vellum, there is the word fear. And what you're going to do is you're going to take that glue stick and you're going to glue that piece of vellum to the front cover. And as you do that, your book becomes brighter, more vibrant. And you will have more access to your book. And as soon as everybody's done with that, you can either close the book or leave it open where it was originally, wherever you'd like to do, and walk around the lectern and come walk out of the cave and replace the bramble in the front. And then walk down the path. And as you walk down the path, you come back into the room. And as soon as you are here, move your toes and your hands and your fingers and open your eyes.
So we now dedicate that clearing to the entire grid and to all of those when they're ready, that they just need to acknowledge that they no longer wish to filter their life through fear.
And they can set that down and be free of it.
Anything you want to add, Primdaya?
Just that it
Anybody want to add?
out and is there for all to receive it in the perfect timing. And that we have dedicated by taking this moment in time consciously, that it will happen for them consciously or unconsciously when their heart and soul is ready.
Beautiful. It's very interesting. Everybody has lots of different colors. When I could see all of that dedication going out on the grid in different colors, it was beautiful. Does anybody want to share what they saw, what they felt, what they experienced?
I just have a question. Why glue the fear to the cover?
Because I found out when I originally found that there was a vellum of fear on my Akashic records, I tried to cut it out and it would reappear. And so I figured out you could glue it to the cover and you wouldn't filter your life through it anymore.
Oh, I see.
Because as a
Interesting.
human being, fear is a basic emotion. So you're not going to be able to get rid of the emotion. But just know that being human, you'll experience it, but you don't need to hold on to it or filter your life through it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good question. I had the same one. It's like, well, why wouldn't we just get rid of it altogether?
Why not just stick it over here?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Or just cut it out and
I
remove
tried.
it or dissolve
You
it.
got to put it somewhere.
But because it is a human emotion that we all fear, and it has a value, right? There is some value to it. It's just not to rest in it and or filter your life through it. So
I remember reading that Yeshua said all fear, or was it Yeshua or somewhere I read this, all fear is really the physical body's fear of death or the ego's fear of no longer existing.
Mm.
And once you get over that, you're like, hey, I'm good.
well, and I don't know if maybe we will know the truth of that when we experience it, the absence of it, you know. But until then, certainly not. I find it not to rest in that state, right? If I
Mhm.
do experience it, I try to recognize what it is, understand it, and then
Let it
release it
go.
as quickly as possible and get myself back to a grounded, centered space of peace with it.
Because what so many of us do is that we have a fearful occurrence happen, and then we hold and tuck that fear away so that we can prevent it from ever happening again, which doesn't allow us to be in the present moment.
Mhm.
Yeah, and one of the things we definitely work with is the mind, because our mind loves to think it's protecting us, but you know, by recreating thoughts that for me represent a fearful state of being, certainly anxiety, and I think anxiety is just another level of fear, or certainly triggered by fear. So working with the mind to make sure that it's not, you know, creating all of this stuff under the guise of protecting us.
Right.
And that's you know, that's when we ask, is something mental, emotional? Maybe the emotion's being driven by a mental thing, right? And it's a story that's repeating in my head that so we'd have techniques for clearing all of that stuff too.
So that leads us into actually learning we're teaching people how to clear the mental grooves, because there are actually grooves that are created by a thought pattern. And if you think about it over and over again, it just gets etched in. And so you can really very simply use a substance that can fill in those grooves and then polish it smooth so that they're not there anymore.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of another guided meditation that we could do, but if everyone wants to, you know, if you can imagine there's a thought that just keeps repeating in your mind, and you recognize that it's not something that you enjoy thinking about, but you can't seem to get rid of it. Because we find, you know, mind over matter doesn't work, at least not for us. You might push it away for a while, but there's these thoughts that just come back, right? They work their way back in depending on what situation you're in or whatever. And so with those thoughts, we see them most of the time. For people, they show up kind of as a record, like a record groove. So I don't know if you guys want to just do this right now, but just if there is some kind of thought that you can imagine, and just so close your eyes and imagine that that thought is represented by a groove, and it can be a groove in a record.
Some people have ruts in the road instead of a record. So sometimes they see it that way. Sometimes they see it chasms in a wall. So the grooves can manifest any picture.
I mean, mine used to show up like valleys, like you know, Grand Canyon size things, and I'd bring in bulldozers, and I had all these guys that worked in my head, and they would come in and they'd fill up these you know, things that were so huge. But whatever the thought pattern is, however it's represented, the idea would be then to have a substance that comes in, whether, like for me, it was bulldozers pulling in the dirt and filling it in. But
We have one client that brings in liquid gold and fills in the
I like
liquid
that.
gold.
especially for, you know, the grooves on a record. So
Right.
whatever the substance might be, you can imagine having that come in and fill those spaces to the point that there are no longer any grooves. And once that's done, we even like to polish it smooth to just really make sure that it's completely gone.
And then the other thing that kind of completes the whole thing is that we found in research that they found that the brain will actually lay down pathways in the body to perpetuate those grooves and those thoughts.
Interesting.
And so what we do is we help people just imagine, just ask your brain to retract all of those pathways because they're really not needed anymore. And it's pretty fascinating when you just ask the brain. If you're someone who's a body sensitive, I can feel them going right back into my brain. It's
And
pretty
I tend to see them
fascinating.
dissolve instead of retracting. As the grooves are filled, then those pathways just kind of dissolve. But however it works, there is no right or wrong way to do any
Right.
of this work. So there's no limit to what we can imagine, and what we can imagine is as real as we believe it is. So that's a huge part of what we do, if you could tell, because we're always using some kind of meditative process where we're walking through something. But we have people that have a difficult time imagining or picturing the things that we say. So sometimes we just utilize the feeling state. Everybody is a little bit different. And sometimes our clients are so creative, it's amazing.
Yeah, and sometimes they can't even feel it, so then we use a completely different method to clear it. So we tend to use the emotion code and the body code, and that author actually created a method that you can actually clear anything, a pattern, a belief system, a thought pattern, or any of those, or emotions mostly that are anchored in the body, just by simply swiping the main meridian in the body.
Hmm.
And it's pretty fascinating how quickly things clear when you do it that way.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And that work is it's called the body code is one of them, the emotion code. I don't know if you've all heard of it, but it's amazing work.
Yeah, it is.
Tremendously effective. And it goes back to that same principle that everything is energy. So, through that process, especially through the body code, there's methods for identifying where there's an imbalance again. It could be in your nervous system, it could be toxins, it could be parasites, it could be almost anything. And simply by doing the swiping over the governing meridian, you can reset the body. You can remove and release the toxins and have the body dispose of them through the normal elimination channels. And we've done so much of this work on ourselves and had tremendous success with it.
And I hate to sound like a broken record, but it's like all about remembrance, right? We're doing all of this clearing work so that we can remember who we really are. Right? And be totally grounded in who we are, and not to really get caught up in that clearing process, but to really realize that that's the process of allowing us to actually really come into our wholeness and consciousness.
So the meridian, is that related to like acupuncture points when you talk about the meridian?
Yes, it is. It's the governing meridian, actually.
No,
It's
interesting.
the
I've
one
never
that
heard
comes
that.
from here and goes all the way back down to the tailbone.
So when we're
Because-
working with people, many times for even more effective use, we use a magnet down somebody's back when we have somebody in person. But just the swipe over the head with your own hand is completely effective.
And then because we can't reach our back all the way, then it's just doing this all the way down to the back of the neck is enough to clear it.
Very cool.
I agree that sometimes when I get in a rutted loop, I just ask and intend, and then ask my angels to come and help me to get rid of that thought. And I just say, no, you're not renting space in my head right now. Go. And in a few minutes, I just feel lighter, lifted from that thought pattern.
Beautiful.
Doesn't mean it won't come back the next day, but I just do the same thing. It's like, we're out of here.
So we have, we have many other modalities that we use, but it's interesting when you say that it comes back. So there is a clearing statement that we have, and I'm not going to go through the whole thing today, but Eva, I'll send you a link. It's, again, we didn't create it, but we utilize, we just gather stuff from everywhere, anywhere we can, right?
I also write a book. Have you thought about that?
Eventually, yep. We want to do. We have one actually that's formulating. The more
you got
we've been talking, the more that it's like, okay, it's time.
Well, we have, because we have so many things, right? And the book we're talking about is called The Little Book of Clearing. So it'll actually be like a reference book with all the different modalities in them.
Like a
To organize all of that.
Yeah. So, so the clearing process that we help people with is actually from a man named Dane Hare. And we saw it on YouTube, and he has been doing this for many, many years. And I believe it's DANE and then HEIR.
Well, I can send you a link, Eva, and you could share it with everyone.
Okay.
HR.
So what it is his clearing statement that actually clears everything. I mean, it pretty much works every time. The only time that we've actually, what's interesting is that it's a long statement of words. So we know that it takes about 10 passes for the body to get programmed in with the same thing over and over again. So after we hit about 8 times, we go, isn't there a shorter way we can do this? So we figured out that you can, in a very clear and succinct way, be able to clear it without the long blah, 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 whatever it is. And because you can actually just program that statement into the body and then figure out a shortcut for yourself.
Mhm. And one thing too that Jeshua over the years has told us, and that I find works for me too, is not to resist that whatever it is I'm trying to clear, but to in some way bless it and befriend it, and then it kind of just tells you why ask it why it's there. And a lot of the time it's for protection or something that is, you've had in the past or within your generations that kept you safe, or something that tripped you up. And and when I can just acknowledge it and thank it for its contribution to my life, and then let it go, then it goes more easily.
Yeah. No, we agree with that.
Right. And then what's nice is that the basic middle of the statement is called POC and POD. So if you were to say, when you're releasing it gently and you say POC and POD, that means that you're clearing it from the point of creation to the point of destruction.
Wow.
It does the whole thing.
Mm.
Yeah. It's a fascinating process.
It is.
It's, I know that they all work because I've been using them for so long. So I can attest, just through my own experience, the value of them. Well, I don't know if someone needs to believe they work for them to work, but they do work for us. And we certainly share them with a lot of our clients, and they find it effective. So Eva, I sent you the links to your phone. Is there a better way you want me to send them?
You can send it to my email address.
Okay.
So the beautiful thing about some of the work that we do, there are some people that are on a very interesting path where they come and they do the work, and then they go and they leave and they go, well, none of the work.
Sorry.
None of the work we did before did anything. And it's like, so did you get a promotion? Did your boyfriend actually finally ask you to marry you? Did you, all
That's
those
really
things
funny.
happened in succession after we had done the sessions. It was just so beautiful. And then she goes, oh. But I think it's so beautiful that they can go off and live their life and not think, anything of that things are just moving right along, and just to make a little consciousness of, well, after you did all the work, this is what happened. Some people just don't associate the work that they do with the outcomes. It's pretty interesting to watch.
Well, and sometimes once you clear it, you forget that you even had it.
Yes,
Oh yeah.
exactly.
No, that's one of the most beautiful things. We do this on a daily basis. And because we'll try to share maybe with our mentor, because we work with somebody on a daily basis for ourselves as well. And they'll say, well, what'd you guys do? And we'll be excited. We'll go, oh yeah, it was amazing, whatever we did. And then it's like, oh, but I don't remember because it's cleared. It's gone. So I can't remember what it was, but it was really good. It was amazing.
It was good. I know it was good.
It was so exciting.
Well,
We
I'd
do
like
have
to
a lot
hear.
of fun with what we do.
Yes, we do.
And there's a lot of laughter with everything that we do.
Yeah.
It's just
One of
it's
the things that was just coming up for me too was with the work that you do, that we can, whatever your particular spiritual path, whether it's Yeshua or Buddha or whatever that you're working with, you can dedicate that work to that, connection too, and call on that connection and say, in Yeshua's name, or in the name of whatever. And so it's not something that needs to be separate from our own deep spiritual knowing.
Yeah, no, I
Absolutely.
absolutely.
It's beautiful.
Because I know that from,
Yeah,
Yes.
of course. Yeah, we've yet to run into somebody, whether they be an atheist or whomever. Some of my favorite people are people that think they don't believe in anything, that call themselves atheists, but they're some of the most wonderful people because they have very open minds.
Yeah.
And the kind of work we do, you don't have to have a specific faith in anything. And just be open to the possibility of things working. So it is, yeah, thank you, Primnaya, because it's never an obstacle. No particular faith, at least we've never run into anything that was, it just, what's most important is the person's willingness to go inside and then the conscious decision to want to make a change. That's the only, because we don't do it for them, right? Nothing that we're never doing anything for somebody. We might be following or showing them the path, but it's up to the person.
They still have to walk down it.
And they have to choose to or want to choose to do the clearing, to do the work. We certainly can't do it for them, no matter how much we really want to and wish we could. We can't.
Can I ask Darlene and Rena to give your feelings so far? Because
I'd
we're
love to hear
both.
from you.
Yeah, and if anybody
right.
has any questions or anything.
Darlene, what are you feeling about what we've been talking about?
Well, I was with Bronwyn when she was asking the question because I was kind of confused too, why that word would be put on the front of the book. But now I understand why. As you said, fear is a basic emotion that we can't just erase.
Right.
But we don't need to filter our life
Through it.
Yes, exactly. So so that cleared that question in my mind. Yeah. Yes. No, walking down the path, especially after that, heading back, I could feel, first of all, my spine was sparkling.
Wow.
Sparkling with energy, and then I could feel that warmth from that sparkling energy as I was walking back, lighting up the path.
That's beautiful.
So that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I do think in my visualizing it will be a light sometimes inside of me, right, or around me, but to feel it in my spine was something a little different, kind of like crystals that were lit up.
Beautiful. Wow.
Yeah, interesting. So that was good.
Yeah. That's great.
You've done healing work with people over the years too.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. So not only as a health professional, which was my work as a occupational and physical therapist, and working with people, of course, with their also their mindset is a very big part of that in their healing process, and helping them along with that. Often pointing out the successes to remind people of where they were and where they are now and where they're going, all of that in my work. And then also with the spiritual work I do is mainly through music. also
Oh,
my
wow.
own, what I consider a musical ministry,
Beautiful.
singing and playing music to touch people's hearts and open them, help
Hmm.
open the heart.
Oh,
Nice.
Darlene has a beautiful voice.
Yay.
Thank you.
Graced us at some of the advances with your beautiful voice. So thank you for all the healing work that you do as well. Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you.
Mm. And Rena, you too. You are an excellent counselor and being of light, angel of light. What are some of your reactions?
I love going in a cave. When I was a child, I used to make my parents stop. We lived in San Antonio, and there's a lot of caves in that area. And I'd make them stop, and they'd say, "Okay," you know. But I just got such. I mean, I was what 4 or 5 years old, and I just love going in caves. So when you said we're going to go in a cave, I thought, oh, goody. I guess
That's wonderful.
perfect.
The fear thing, I've worked on fear, I think, all my life, and I'm so much better now. I live alone, and I've never been afraid of anything living alone ever. And, the only thing, I can't think of anything that, I'm sure if something happened that would just, but I can't think of anything right now that scared me recently. I feel free.
That's lovely.
Yeah. But I thought that the gluing on the front of in front of the album was interesting too. It's almost like it's the first thing you'd see as you'd look at the album, and I thought, that's interesting. So I understand now what you're saying about it, that you don't put it internally, that it doesn't go internally, it goes on the outside to remember that you don't have to deal with it anymore internally. So that was interesting. So I've enjoyed the meditations. Thank you so much for them. They've really been very beautiful. And I feel like I've gotten a lot of out of them, each of them.
Oh, beautiful. I'm so glad.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks, Rena. Larry, are you willing to put on your video and let us say hello to you and see how what your reactions have been? See if he's back there.
He was there.
I am. I'm just out for a hike right now.
Oh,
And
wonderful.
so I was walking in the woods and stopping and gazing at the sun and just taking some moments just to ground with the earth and the elements. And so I would like to re-listen to the activations because I was pretty much moving most of the time. And certainly it was, I'm also interested in the clearing statements.
Beautiful.
Nice.
So,
So it was beautiful. Yeah, it's really about activating the imagination and being able to do a sweep in the body. And there's other modalities, such as the violet flame, of course, for cleansing and purifying, for purifying, but really for habitual thoughts. Yeah, it's really about awareness to catch them and to filter them out. Sometimes the most using imagination and doing something silly, like having a zapper, can eliminate them.
We definitely believe that there is not any one way to do any of this work. We just like to share the stuff that works for us. And as we said, even when we share, one of these meditations with somebody, where they go with it is so wonderful to witness. And a lot of what we learn from people we're working with, because we'll give them one way, and then so they'll be like, well,
Oh, can we do it this way? Yeah.
for me, it was like this, and what about doing this and that? And we're like, wow, that's great. I never even thought of that. So yeah, it's a beautiful thing. There is no limit. I think with everything, so much like 90% of it is your intent.
Yeah.
So if you're ready and intend to make a change, it's going to make a change. However, whatever way you utilize, whatever path you take to get there.
Absolutely beautiful. We are all facets of the one, and we are so creative.
Yes, we are.
Always telling us, you are so creative. You just find different ways to get yourself into learning situations.
Exactly.
And thank you for your input, Larry. That was wonderful. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. So we're kind of coming up on time here, and I would just like to thank everybody for being part of this. And I'd like to just do a few announcements about Oak Ridge and what we're planning for the year here. And thank you, Pat. I know that you're with us. So let me share just a little bit. And so next, diving deeper, will be our own Bronwyn. She's going to be speaking on April 11th, which is, again, the second Saturdays. These are all second Saturdays, and some of the other speakers in the next few months. Dan back, Nada for the first time, and Josie will be speaking in July. So please put this on your calendar and tell your friends so that we can have a lot of people be inspired and take to heart the Jesuit teachings and whatever they are blessed with in our sessions. Take a look at our dynamic website. It's always changing. We've got lots of features on it. The bookstore, we have the Jeshua Volume 1 and 9 are now audiobooks read by our own Glenn Jones, who has a wonderful reading voice and has been in the Jeshua sessions, so he knows the energy. They're available on our website, as well as all 9 volumes of Jeshua and Judith's Jeshua the Personal Christ volumes. We have a wonderful prayer ministry that both Rena and Bronwyn and I and Josie are part of. So please, if you have a request, we have a confidential prayer request form on our Oak Ridge homepage that you can email us, and it's all secure and confidential. And we have 2 YouTube channels, if you don't know about them, Jeshua the Personal Christ YouTube channel and the Oak Ridge Heart Family Portal. And there's lots of beautiful meditations, Jeshua discourses, prayers, poetry, artwork, and music even. So anytime you feel like you'd like to listen to a Jeshua reading or a Jeshua inspired, or just any one of us who have prayers and meditations on there as well. And we also have, we put these diving deeper programs on our Heart Family, Oak Ridge University Heart Family portal. So you can go back the past year for our Heart Family Masters. And thanks to an anonymous donor who made this diving deeper discussion possible. And if you want to be a donor, we'd greatly appreciate any of your donations on our website or sending to our box office. We love sharing all of this information with you, and we appreciate your support and keeping the channels, the pathways, the pipelines open, like like the Zoom channel. And being able to send out notices on our expanding viewpoint. So thank you so much to both of you for making the time in your day and in your life and all the work that you do for so many people, and clearing and being this wonderful example yourselves of living life on purpose every day, choosing the highest possible thoughts and vibrations. That's all we can do is as we hold the peace for our planet, for all beings, and making those choices every day to be the highest and best that we can be. So thank you all.
Thank you, Eva, for organizing everything
Oh
and
my God, all that you
keeping
do.
us going and getting us ready.
Thank you so much.
Us.
I've been wanting to have you on for a long time, so thank you for making this space in your life and being part of our heart family as we extend to each other. Is there a way people want to get a hold of you? Do you want to tell us how people can get a hold of you?
Well, either, I don't know if you can post both of our phone numbers and then
And our emails.
and our emails. And more Kathleen's email, the CM Lotus.
Okay, I can post that to everyone who's on here.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
in our phone numbers, people can call or text.
And we
Okay.
respond to text pretty well. So
I can attest to that. Okay. Any last minute words of wisdom, reactions, anything to close? Bronwyn, would you mind me putting you on the spot to do a closing prayer for us?
Sure. We'd just like to say thank you, Matt and Kathleen, for sharing your gifts with us tonight. It's been very inspirational.
No,
you're welcome. We loved it.
been our pleasure.
Thank you for the invitation.
Okay, well, with that, we'll just take a breath, take another breath, and center ourselves, and we reach out our hands to each other and we join in a beautiful energetic circle. We are all connected in love and light, and we are cleared and uplifted. Thank you, Divine Spirit, for the gifts Matt and Kathleen have shared with us this day. Thank you for Eva that keeps everything going. Thank you for Oak Bridge and the Hart family. We live in joy. Sometimes it doesn't feel like it, but we know that it is so, and we are grateful. Thank you and amen.
Amen. Thank you. So be it.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Come back in April. Love you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Mary, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.